So we bow our heads in thanksgiving for the gifts that the Lord has given us and for the ability to participate in Mass today here live and in person. I thank you for being here and taking the time to be with us. As I mentioned very briefly, this is called Heart of a Shepherd. One of the things is that we've done a very, very good job in the diocese of taking care of the needs of the diocese, taking care of the needs of the poor through Catholic Charities, and we were raising funds for a lot of major things so we could do a better job, and we've done a very good job. What we did was we neglected me, okay? And not me personally, but as the clergy, as far as the training is concerned for the clergy, as far as helping out our young guys who are... No, my microphone is not on. You can't hear me. Okay, then I will have to put on another microphone. Okay, it'll be 1 second. And yikes.
Are you Casey? Are you Casey? Yeah. Nice to meet you. Oh, I know.
Okay. With this, I'm going to blast everybody out of the room. I'll put that down here a little bit lower. And I will pass this to you, Mary Lou, when I'm finished with it.
Sure.
I hope you can hear me now. I feel like that guy from Verizon. Do you hear me now? Okay. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to raise money to support the clergy in the form of renovations to our seminary system, our Borromeo and St. Mary's seminaries, and to help provide our newly ordained priests. By the way, a new priest in the Diocese of Cleveland makes about $29,000 a year, and they're coming out with about $38,000 worth of debt to student loans. After they graduate from college, they got 5 years of deferring those while they're in graduate school. And then they come out with this monster debt. So we're going to try to establish a fund to help them pay that. And then the other part of that is our older guys, the retireds. We want to shore up our pension plan because in about 5 years, there'll be one working priest for every retired priest we have. And the premiums right now are, each priest has a premium that's due from his assignment of $10,000 a year. And we want to reduce that so it's fully funded, so no matter what happens, we'll be able to take care of our old timers. So these are the things that we're doing with it. And Mary Lou is going to talk a little bit about how this has come about. And she's also going to let you know we started this before the pandemic hit. When the pandemic hit, we had to rethink the whole thing and figure out how to do it. And that's what we're doing now. And we're one of the pilot parishes that's going to take care of this. And the other parishes that are going to follow us are going to learn from what worked with us and what didn't work for us. So, I thank you for being here and to listen through this program. Okay, it's here. And this has one switch.
One switch.
One switch is either on or off.
Okay.
And you're on.
Excellent. Thank you, Father. Thank you all for staying after Mass today. I was so privileged to join you for this liturgy. It was my first time at a Lithuanian Mass, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. As Father mentioned, my name is Mary Lou Ozimick. I am on staff at the diocese. I work at the Catholic Community Foundation, and that's essentially the fundraising arm of the diocese. So this program, the Heart of a Shepherd program, is something that was envisioned by Bishop Perez. It's actually been a need in our diocese for a very long time. Many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with the seminary property out in Wycliffe. That property was, my goodness, it's probably the 1940s when the diocese acquired it from the Good Shepherd Sisters. It used to be a home for for young women who were facing some troubles. And throughout the years, the property out there was renovated on the first floor, which is where the classrooms are, the common areas, so on and so forth. But really no renovations have taken place on the second floor, which is the residential area. So Bishop Perez, when he came, looked, he saw a need for this. He reached out to various groups across the diocese, clergy, laity, the students, of course, and recognized that something needed to be done for the seminary. He received approval from the Vatican, and last summer began a fundraising initiative for this campaign that was tested in about 10 pilot parishes last fall, in the fall of 2019. We raised about $4 million through those 10 parishes. Bishop Perez did some fundraising on his own for the project, and right now we have about $13.5 million in commitments towards this diocesan project, which is a $30 million project in total. And as Father said, it's for 3 parts. The first $20 million is for the renovations of the seminary, there, and that is the residential wings of the seminary. The second part of it is $7 million for the retired priests of our diocese. And as Father said, we have a tremendous need for the retired priests in our diocese. A lot of people think that that collection that is done every December in the pews for the retired religious benefits the retired priests of our diocese, the diocesan priests. It actually does not. It's a wonderful collection that takes place, but it benefits the retired religious. So that would be the sisters, the brothers, the religious order priests, the nuns. None of that comes back to our diocesan priests. And that is a large part of our diocesan priests' retirement income comes from that fund. They receive about $1,650 a month in retirement as a primary source of income for that fund. So this $7 million will go a long way, not only to helping them, but to reducing, as Father mentioned, the burden that the parish has. Every parish pays into that retirement fund for the priests about $10,000 every year. By putting this additional $7 million in, it will reduce the parish share. It's anticipated down to possibly as low as $5,000 per parish. So that'll be a help to the parish too. The last $3 million of this effort will go to help the newly ordained priests who have student loan debt. Father mentioned $38,000 is the average student loan debt. That is that is the average. The range, a survey was done last year, and the range is anywhere from $8,000 to $112,000 is the student loan debt that the newly ordained priests have. And a lot of people ask, well, how could that be possible if the diocese is educating these young men for the priesthood? And that's because even though they receive their degree from John Carroll, live on campus at the seminary for the undergraduate, they still have to pay tuition. It is reduced tuition. Once they get to the graduate level, they're not paying tuition. But a lot of the men who are called to the priesthood have perhaps had another career. Maybe they had their undergraduate degree at the University of Dayton. Maybe they've gone all the way through graduate school, and then they determine their call to the priesthood and have a significant amount of student loan debt. So this campaign isn't to help take away all that debt, to erase it, but it's to help reduce that, to make it more manageable. And I should say too, I neglected to say, there are about 71 men in formation at our seminary right now, and it is a beautiful, beautiful blessing to have our own seminary in the diocese. There are 178 dioceses in the United States. Of those, only 30 dioceses still have their own freestanding seminary. We're one of those 30, and that means we are priest rich, I suppose you could say, because so many vocations are homegrown here in our diocese. I don't know if you saw this, Father, but just the other day I was told a statistic by the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops that of those 178 dioceses, Cleveland ranks number 13 in terms of strength of vocations across the country. And that is a beautiful, beautiful gift that we want to continue. We want to continue here. So that's just probably overall summary of this. Is there anything else you want me to comment on, Father? Can you think of?
I can't think of anything.
Okay. I will say before I hand it back to Father, the one thing that is very different from this campaign, from how it was envisioned initially, is the piece for the parish. So initially, when we were rolling out this campaign, of course, nobody had any idea that the pandemic was coming and so on and so forth. But when we picked it up and decided, well, we still have the need, we still need to go forward with this, we're going to test it and see, and Father was so gracious to be one of 14 parishes this fall, 14 pastors who said, you know what, I see the need, we can test it here before we roll it out to all parishes in 2021. So, but the priests in the diocese, at the time the diocesan administrator, Father Don Alexiak, all came to the foundation and said, if we do this, pick this up where we left off, you're going to have to change it somehow so the parishes can participate in this, because parishes are struggling. A lot of people aren't able to contribute to the offertory, and it's been a difficult time for parishes, just as it has been for individuals. So now the campaign was re-envisioned to have a significant parish share. So the parish goal here at St. Casimir is a little over $72,000. Of that, 50 cents on every dollar is going to come back to the parish up until that goal amount is met. And then after that, 80 cents on every dollar will come back to the parish over that amount. So, and that's to help parishes strengthen and support the life here at the parish. So that's a very different aspect of it than it has been in the past. And maybe, Father, I'll let you say a little bit about what you want to do here at the parish. There you go.
I think I'm back up to that, yes. You notice we're sitting in the cold church right now. And that's because, again, we're working on repairs on the heating systems, and we had this thing running, but then one of the automatic lighting mechanisms went out, and we came with a part on next Tuesday, so of course we got to pull that 30 and the building. One small repair. If you look up in the ceilings or you look on the walls, you see plaster coming down. That normally doesn't happen. What's causing that is water. Water coming through the ceiling. We have a lot of leaks up on the roof. Okay, and with this 500-year tile roof, it obviously did not last 500 years. We have to do extensive repairs. We've got permission from the diocese to spend the money to fix the roof. Right now we have a preliminary up there of about $29,000. It'll be probably a little bit more by the time we put the snow guards in so the snow doesn't fall off the roof on the parking lot or on people's heads. In the wintertime, we have to take care of that before we can start doing the repair on the inside of the building. Inside of the building, all this will have to be cleaned and painted. Plaster cracks and all this got to be filled in as a result of all that. So all this is going to be done. Okay, some of the money that we are going to be getting from this, our share, whatever that amount is going to be, is going to help us do that, to make that happen. Very, very important thing to do. The second thing that we want to do is we're going to talk about this front entrance to the church, and every time we look at it another way, it's a bigger and bigger project. Right now, we have no idea what the cost is. I had to hire an engineering firm now to come in, and they just gave me a $6,000 bill before they get the plans, and they're going to work with me through the entire thing. And that's just drawing a picture of what the front steps are going to look like. At the same time, we have to take the doors off the church because of the closing mechanisms, and then we're going to refinish the wood, and we're going to bring them up to the proper fire codes with crash bars and those kinds of things so we can get in and out of the church if we have an emergency. We're going to keep the open doors though, but they're going to be refinished. We're going to do the main entrance and then the two sides that are really in bad shape. Those things are coming around right now. That's probably going to be in excess of $50,000. We can't get it done this fall because by the time we get all the approvals permits in for this. That'll be the end of the concrete pouring season, plus we don't want to have the entrance to the church wide open in the wintertime. We'd be feeding the cause of the idea of the heating system. At the same time, the rectory was built 50 or 60 years ago, and we got the original windows. And if you light a candle in the wintertime, you want the candle flickering as the 0-degree temperatures come forward through the windows. We're wasting a lot of fuel. Went over this with the Finance Council. They're 100% behind it. It's going to save us money, but we are a landmark building. If you remember when, everybody was afraid that the bishop was going to close the church. So we got a landmark so we wouldn't allow to close the church. Now we're paying the price for that. I have to replace the windows that are going to look exactly like that are in there. Okay, so you can't go over to Window World or whatever to get the windows. I'm having custom-made windows designed so we can go up and get the approval from the Landmark Commission and then have the diocese give us the okay to spend the money. That's probably going to be close to $100,000 based on what we've paid for the concrete windows 11 years ago. So we're looking at some big expenses, and all this is going to help. You can see that we're smaller than we were years ago. And it's going to be a bigger burden on all of us. We received some money. We got a very, very nice bequest that came in that's helping us in a lot of these things, but that's also for future. As I mentioned when we first got it, it's going to be we're going to have that money away for the future. So when the time comes for additional things that have to be done, generation down or something, that's going to be able to be done. Just remember, everything that we have here, we had nothing to do with it. It was given to us. We maintained it. As long as we're here, it's our obligation to leave it for those who come after us. So that's one of the things that's very important for here. The other things about the seminary, Mary Lou was talking about the seminary, and we acquired the property from Mary Chris, I think it was 1954 when we opened Borromeo. I went to school there 1968 to 1972. It was old when I was there. They have not done anything to it since then. The seminarians were here last week, they were repeating this week, they were explaining it. The government was coming up, the guy worked in a summer job demolishing houses. He pulled the demolished carpeting out and put it in his room, it was better than what was there. Cold, this is not cold, this was very, very comfortable when I was in the seminary. 45 degrees was normal temperature in my room. Try to study in that, try to sleep in that, try to do anything in that. It's very, very difficult. So those are the things that we're trying to correct. We have pictures here of what the renovations are going to look like, and I think it's going to be well worth it because again, today the world's a lot different. Our major seminarians are older, and as more male students. When we went in, I was 18 years old. I don't think there's very many 18-year-olds going into the seminary today. In graduate school, I was 22 when I went in. Graduate school, St. Mary's, now they're 35, 36 years old is the average age. So these are the things where we have to make sure that the body health is something that is livable and comfortable, also a little different. More obligations are placed on them as far as training and pastoral ministry. So they need all these things. So those are important, and these are the things that I want to make across.
Should we ask if there's any questions?
Does anybody have any questions? Oh, what? I hate answering questions. Okay. We have some pictures up there if you want to see them. They're artist drawings or whatever. I do believe this is going to be one of the more public areas. Okay, there's some money that's set aside for that. Is this the Borromeo side or the St. Mary's side?
I don't know the answer to that. I think
it looks like it's going to be
maybe I'd say the Borromeo side.
The Borromeo side and the St. Mary's side is on the other side there. With a picture down the hallway and then student rooms. St. Mary's are going to have individual rooms for each student. They're going to be like in a little efficiency, pretty much if you ever saw the second floor of our rectory here. The assistant suites are these little smaller rooms with a room divider. This is where the bed goes, the bathroom's over here, and this is where your desk is. They'll have that. The Borromeo side is going to have smaller rooms, but they're going to have a common area for, 4 or 5 students or whatever it is. And they'll be able, that's going to be their little pod to live in. They'll have individual heating, air conditioning, decent windows. It'll be quiet. Living on Euclid Avenue is not an easy trip. I know that. Yes?
I want to ask, what's the difference between St. Mary's and Borromeo? Why are there two of them?
Okay, Borromeo is where you first enter in, and that's where you start discerning your vocation. You're taking some philosophy classes, you got to get your undergraduate degree. That comes out of John Carroll University. St. Mary's is the graduate school. It's a certified, accredited graduate school, and the St. Mary's side, that's where you're already going on that further commitment, and then the diocese, the Seminary Foundation or Fund, picks up your tuition, your room and board, and once you get over there, it's free, except for your books, expenses, and those kinds of things. And that's your final 5 years of preparation, where you're getting all your theology, scripture, and your pastoral assignments. You get a lot more professional practice and experience to further define how you are going to be as a priest. Is this really going to be for you? You spend a whole year living in a parish. What's it like to live in a rectory? What's it like to get the calls in the middle of the night? What's it like to be running out to teach in the morning and then counsel somebody at a funeral and then come back and then work with the children all in one day? Can you do this? These are some of the things that we're training for, and especially now with the future. When I was first ordained, you would be 20 years before you got a pastor. I was the exception because of the nationality. Today, we have priests out 4 years. They're becoming pastors of 2 parishes. That's the need is there, so they're learning better management techniques for how to do that. How do you deal with 2 finance councils, parish councils? How do you deal with all these competing things? And they're doing a very good job. So we're training them for that. That's the difference, and they're getting that over the St. Mary's side. In the past, we had 2 campuses. St. Mary's, where I went, was on Ansel Road, the 88th and Superior. They moved over when we sold that property. Nothing else. Good. If you're free to come up and take a look at the pictures, okay, or talk to us privately, or something about this specifically, we're winding down. We have a few more weeks left that we're going to be talking about this and doing it, and then November, was it weekend before Thanksgiving, I believe?
Right.
We're going to have what we call Commitment Sunday, like we did with Catholic Charities. Or we did, if you remember back to the Lutheran Faith, where we're going to fill out those who did not already do it earlier, or going to fill out their commitment, and it's a commitment over 3 years. So we're asking, we had some suggestions, we worked on those a little bit, and for the most part, we're just saying, think about it, pray about it, take a look at what you're able to do to help us, and then make that commitment to be paid over 3 years. I know the formulas that were well worked in the past don't work anymore under this pandemic, where we're going to be asking people for $20,000. Now that's not going to work. I think the biggest ask that we had here was $10,000. Mm-hmm. And I think only one got that ask. Mm-hmm. Most people are down in the $3,000, $5,000, $6,000 if you're able to swing it. And again, it's strictly up to you. We have a goal. If you meet the goal, fine. If you don't meet the goal, okay too. Because the program's going to go on, and the thing is, the more we're able to help out, the more that our parents are going to get out of this, and then this is going to be a very good program. All set?
I have another question, because I really couldn't hear very well, but you said that 50 cents of every dollar that we donate up to a certain point will come back to our parish?
Yes.
Yes.
Determine how, when that stops?
Okay, our goal was what, 78,000?
72.
72,000. Once we hit $72,000 committed, when we go above that, at 72,000, we get 80% of the money.
Okay.
Thank you all.
I thank you for being here. Yeah. Take a look at the pictures. I think, I wish I was a kid again to go through this. I know the food's a lot better than when I was there. And in fact, when I was on the priest council and I go to meetings, it was always nice to go to the seminary for lunch, because it actually was actual real food. And instead of whatever we got, I remember having a turkey dinner, and you go into the stuffing, and it was jelly from the old jelly donuts. Oh. You just smashed that in and then made it stuffing. So that was what we had in the old days, where you poured your peanut butter from World War II and Korean War. Mixed it with Western oil instead of peanut oil, and it was put on the bread. So those were the things that we had. That was a lot different now. Okay? Well, yeah.
Father, I think that this is a very worthwhile cause, and I do not need to think about it. I already made my pledge.
She'll be glad to take it from you, or I'll take it.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Nana.
And thank all of you for considering this. We're grateful for you staying, for your consideration, and for all you do at the parish all the way around. Thank you.
By the way, I still would like to thank you, Father, for giving us healing sacrament 3 weeks ago. That was fantastic. My daughter came from out of town.
I know.
She was blessed, and she enjoyed us, especially at this time. It was very, very well. Thank you.
Well, it's one of the things that we do, and very happy to do it for the people. At Mass at 9 and 6 o'clock.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
And I learned how to do it in pandemic with a toothpick. Or not a toothpick.
Q-tip.
Okay, thank you.